Brad Garrett.
Good morning, McGraw.
All right, I've been looking forward to talking to you these last couple of days because you know quite a bit. You have some great insight into some of the theories about this Omar Mateen, the shooter from this Orlando nightclub. What are your thoughts as you watch the information come in?
Well, Omar fits basically some of the same background behavioral characteristics of most mass shooters. Now, McGraw, there's really not much difference as far as what motivates you or drives you, whether you're shooting in the name of ISIS or you're going into a school and shooting. I'm talking about you behaviorally.
Right.
And so I think that's what you've got. You've got a guy that's, apparently fixated with homosexuality, but also, it would appear, conflicted about his feelings and thoughts about that. I think that probably contributed to his rage to move forward. But when you switch from a sort of a fixation to you really sort of identify with what you want to do, in other words, you're planning. He obviously planned some of this with his wife based on what we know, that's in the media. And when you combine that and then you add to it I have no other avenue with which to get to my next place in life, whatever that is. And that's when you lose insight completely and you're motivated to launch these attacks. When you look at school shooters, isolation, feel like they can't go any further, paranoid, acutely narcissistic, because all of these shooters are acutely narcissistic. It goes right down the line, McGraw. And the short answer is, how do we stop them? When the public helps us.
Yeah.
That's the key. The public's got to help.
Brad, a lot of people, he espoused some type of sympathetic views towards ISIS and ISIL and then had some sympathetic views towards organizations that are diametrically opposed to ISIS and yet still terrorist organizations. And people want to somehow connect this as a terrorist attack. Your thoughts?
I suppose the terrorist attack because he aligned themselves with ISIS. But McGraw, every mass shooter identifies themselves with something, whether it's ISIS, whether it's Cho at Virginia Tech, whether it's Klebold and Harris at Columbine. They all are trying to go to either someone that's famous or is, thought of as a powerful, controlling sort of, they kick their way through and they keep going, and I want to be on that mountain with them. All of it is the same in my view. So, and stopping them is pretty much all of the same. Obviously, you need the FBI, local police to do their thing, collect technology, monitor websites, etc. But when you do an assessment of somebody and, now it's 2 years later and they've now gone operational, quote unquote, you're only going to find that out probably. Somebody steps forward.
Some people want to criticize the FBI for investigating him and not putting him on any list and sort of taking him off any list and no longer making him part of a focus of any investigation. Is there any criticism towards the FBI for that?
Well, a little bit maybe. But I will tell you, I have been in a situation, not stopping, a mass shooting like this, where you assess people for criminal behavior, for being violent, whatever it might be, and you do it for a period of time, and you can't go anywhere with it. They don't escalate. They're not having conversations with people that are specific enough for you as an investigator to move it up into an actual criminal case and possibly charge them at some point. It's numbers, McGraw. There are literally hundreds of thousands of Omars across this country. I'm not suggesting there's that many shooters out there, but that are troubled, going on ISIS websites, Al-Qaeda, etc., talking bad things about the United States, cheering groups or individuals when they commit violent acts. Fortunately or unfortunately, that's just not against the law. What's against the law is when you start to go operational and say you're going to do something or you support somebody that's going to do something. That's the dilemma for law enforcement. So they have to move on. Surveillance and wiretaps take an incredible amount of manpower, which I think they did, both of those with him, as well as some other things. And so that's the real key. Can you criticize? Sure. But you got to look at it from their perspective that you got to have the public to come behind them and say, look, this guy is about to go off, and here are the reasons why.
Brad Garrett, ABC News crime and terrorism analyst. Great insights, Brad. Thanks for checking in.
Take care, McGraw.